What's up, y'all? Welcome to another episode of the Fit and Focus podcast. I am your coach and your host, Forrest the Trainer. So today's episode is one that might step on some toes, ruffle some feathers, but I'm just going to be honest. What I'm going to say just needs to be said. Y'all might not like it, y'all might appreciate it, but for the ones that are here, the ones that are watching the replay, I want you to take notes. I want you to write this down. I want you to drill it into your own brain because the title of today's episode is going to be what standards actually mean. Now, when it comes to standards, so many people think it's order of operations, how good something is, how bad something is, or just the level of expectation that is required for anything, basically. Now, before anyone gets defensive, I want to be very clear. Standards are not perfection, they are not obsession, and they are not living or working like a robot. That is not standards. That is just being crazy. Standards are the non-negotiables that you follow even when you don't fucking feel like it. Even when it's inconvenient. When you don't want to, when you might not have the most amount of time, but standards are non-negotiables when it's inconvenient. That's what standards are. What does that look like in terms of a fitness journey? What does that look like in terms of nutrition, training, fitness as a whole? That means tracking your food, even when it's annoying. And if you feel like I'm talking to you, to anyone that's watching the replay or that's here, I probably am. So like I said, I'm going to be ruffling some feathers and stepping on some toes. And as someone told me recently, oh, he just stepped over my whole foot. So if I'm talking to you, I'm talking to you, but I ain't saying names. But it could be tracking your food even when it's annoying, training when you don't have the motivation, and not letting the just this once thing become a habit. Yeah, make sure to track your oils and sauces. You got to track the sauces. Now, this is where people get even more uncomfortable. I know I just kind of stepped on some people's toes a little bit, ruffled a couple feathers, but this is where people get the most uncomfortable. Talking to Ricky Bobby. Yes, everyone in the chat, tag Katie and call her Ricky Bobby. If you ain't first, you're last. But like I said, this is where people get uncomfortable. People avoid standards because standards force accountability. And no one, and there's this whole like 100 women versus accountability, 100 men versus accountability. No one likes accountability. People that have not grown up fully or had their frontal lobe fully developed, they don't like to be held accountable, and they definitely don't like to hold themselves accountable. They like to fit their own narrative, and they like to make their own propaganda for their own narrative. So whenever like those standards, like all this stuff, they I can't speak. They remove excuses. They expose effort gaps. That's what standards do. It takes the excuse that you try to bring up and it says, ain't gonna cut it, partner, not around here, not around here. And it exposes the effort gaps. It will expose you to yourself. It puts a mirror up to yourself, because when it comes to looking in a mirror at yourself, you probably did have the time. Why'd you stay in bed that long? Like if you're sick, if you're not feeling good, if you're pregnant, if you're going through so many things that are outside of your control now, like getting pregnant, kind of within your control, but when it comes to you are already pregnant, if you're going to be in bed, you're going to be in bed. You are literally creating a human, so give yourself some grace. But outside of those situations, if you are a regular schmegular human being that has the opportunity to get your ass up out of bed and you don't, if you had the standards in place, that wouldn't be an issue. That wouldn't be a thing that got in the way. That wouldn't be an excuse, because your standard would look at that excuse and say, that's a crock of shit. Like, that ain't gonna cut it. Now, everyone says they want the freedom. Everyone, when they became an adult, looked at their life and is like, hey, I got free will. I can go buy a cake right now at 10 p.m. because Target, H-E-B, and Walmart close at 11. Fuck with me. Like we all do have that free will, but you also have the free will to get out of bed on time. You also have the free will to make sure you make it to the gym. You also have the free will to make sure you drink your water. You also have the free will to track your food and track your workouts. But if you're choosing not to do that, What are the excuses? If you have the standards in place, the excuses aren't going to matter. And here's where the truth most people don't want to admit. Most people aren't scared of the hard work. They're not scared of the hard work because they've done the hard work already. Previously, they're in the middle of doing it. They have experience going through that hard work in a different context of life, but they're scared of finding out what happens if they actually be consistent. If they actually were to commit to themselves and they were actually able to ignore the excuses that their brain wants to make up for them, they don't know if they're going to be able to handle that level of success because they are scared of themselves. Like I said, it brings up a mirror to yourself, and you look at yourself and you're like, I see where I want to go. I see what that future holds, and I don't have the broad enough shoulders to hold that weight. And if you are putting that on yourself, you are setting yourself up for failure. Now, something that this topic and these things can bring up is anxiety. And I want to give grace and I want to give space to anxiety and to anyone that struggles with anxiety. I do not have a single fingernail, and you can see the little where I ripped the skin off of above my cuticles. It's bad. And Spencer's girlfriend is a nail tech and she's already roasted the hell out of me for it. But when it comes to the excuses, when it comes to the anxiety will come up, and I struggle with it too. I struggle with it every single day. Anxiety will come up, and you have to ask yourself and look at yourself in the mirror, and you have to think, is anything actively coming after me? Is there anything coming after me from behind me? Is there anything actively about to fall on top of me? Do I have air in my lungs, sound in my ears, smell in my nose, taste in my mouth? I'm okay. You making an effort towards something that's positive, like a fitness journey, there is nothing negative that could come out of that. If you want to be technical, injuries, sure. But you doing absolutely nothing, you can get injured walking down the damn stairs. You can get injured falling out of bed. You can get injured stepping out of bed. So if you have this anxiety about the success that you could achieve if you were to actually be consistent with yourself, get it out of here. Yeah, Andrew got injured golfing. Golfing is the least athletic sport I've ever seen in my life. And I love playing golf. But it holds true. You can get injured doing so many things, but the anxiety comes up because you don't feel like you have the shoulders broad enough to bear the weight of your own success, because you know what you're capable of. You know you can do it. You know you've done something similar before, and you don't know if you can handle that shit. So stop with the excuses and just get to fucking work. What's the worst that can fucking happen? You have nothing to lose but body fat. Honestly, I see this every single day with clients. I may or may not be talking to y'all in here. I definitely may be talking to people in the replay. Like, I won't bring names up because I will never ever do that. But if I had two people with the same body stats, the same plan, they were the same height, same age, the same weight, and they had everything the exact same, and I gave them the exact same plan. Let's just say that. Person 1 and person B, same plan, same body stats, same height, same age, same life situation, same job, everything. One kind of client, person A, follows the plan. The other treats the one kind just follows the plan and they kind of go through the motions, and the other treats the basics as non-negotiables. And when I say basics, that's doing your check-in, that's logging your food, that's logging in your trainings, your workouts, logging all those things as non-negotiable. The other aspect of that, like, just guess what? The plan didn't change for either one of them, but when you have one that just goes through the motions, like, oh, I got my plan, but I'm going to choose not to track consistently. I'm going to choose not to weigh in consistently, train consistently, et cetera, et cetera. And the other person treated those little minute things as non-negotiable. One person is going to have amazing results with that same plan, and the other person is going to be like, hey, why didn't this work? Shut up. Now, I'm going to bring that up in here in a minute, Andrew. Sorry, I'm reading the chat. But when it comes to situations like that, it's never going to be because of the intensity, or it's going to be because of the extremes, or it's going to be because one person obsessed and they gave up everything in their life just to do this. Like, it's because one person stopped negotiating and arguing with themselves and their own fears. That's going to be why. Now, raising standards without going to the extreme. How do we do that? What does that look like? How can we format that into our very difficult daily life as a full-blown adult, parent, student, working life person, blue-collar person, etc.? Raising your standards does not mean flipping your life upside down overnight. You don't need to raise everything at once. You raise the most important standards first. Now, it might be waking up on time. This is one that I have a solution for, but no one will do it. I've brought it up to I don't know how many people. I have the hardest time getting out of bed. My alarm is not going to get me out of bed. I press a snooze button. Download the app Alarmy, alarm with the Y at the end. Use that. Use the barcode option for the wake up option. You can choose a song or a YouTube video for your alarm, and that alarm will blare like a motherfucker through your phone. You have to walk and go scan a barcode that's in a different room of your house that you chose the night before, and you can save that barcode. Like, let's say the barcode on your toothpaste in your restroom. Your alarm is going to blare on your phone. You can mute it, and you have 15 seconds to get to that restroom and scan that barcode to turn your alarm off. That gets you out of bed within 15 seconds. And people say, oh no, I ain't doing all that. And it's like, okay, then the excuse is there. Like, you're choosing to not get out of bed. You are choosing to be lazy. You are choosing your own failures and not your own successes. That's just the cold hard truth. And it can be scary, Katie, but here's the thing. It really isn't, because if anyone came up to you yesterday, tomorrow, 2 years ago, a year from now, and they said, hey, is it scary to wake up? Just in general, no one say like sleep paralysis demon or the scary hat man if you take too much Benadryl. If someone were to ask you on a bare minimum level, generally speaking, hey, is it scary to wake up? The answer would be no. But when we hear, oh, something that's actually going to wake me up on time, something that's actually going to get me out of bed when I want to, when I know if I get out of bed on time and at this time, I'll be able to do everything I set out to do that I have on my schedule. Scary. See, that's where we need to line up more. That's where we need to be better. But raising the little standards first, it could be like the alarm. It could be consistent weigh-ins. Honest tracking, a minimum number of training days per week when it comes to your training program. They are mapped out for you, and you have the option to click and drag on your calendar to make sure you're able to hit everything. That's it. That's you following what you committed to in the first place. So that's not anything outlandish. That's not you changing your whole life just to do something that's fucking crazy. It's you seeing something that you saw, you thought was worth it yourself. Like, you saw yourself and like, I'm investing in you because you're worth it. And then you're choosing not to. Don't do that. Choose to actually do it. And here's the reframe that I want you to hear very, very clearly. High standards do not make you miserable. Low standards will keep you stuck though. Done already? Yeah, we can keep going for a little bit just to talk and shoot the shit. That's how all y'all felt whenever I started talking about situations y'all may or may not be dealing with. Whole ass foot. Yeah, you could do that. We just getting started. Okay, so any questions for anybody? Or would you like me to go over different sections? Because I got 4 sections right here. You had cars. Boy. You know what? This is what I'm going to do now. We're going to have some fun.
Forrest, is your standard forehead Botox injections?
Nothing beats the Jet2 holiday.